So my name's Mark Walker. I'm the editorial director of the FinTech Times, and we're here at Web Summit Qatar. JK, I wonder if you could first start by introducing yourself to the audience, please.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me, Mark. My name is JK Khalil. I am the division president for Mastercard in East Arabia region, and I've been with the company for about 10 years. My background is in technology, banking, and consulting.
Fantastic. So what does your role encompass within Mastercard in the region?
Sure. So I basically look after a set of countries, which we call a division. We have about 4 divisions in the Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa region. My division pretty much encompasses the GCC countries plus Pakistan.
So obviously we're here at Web Summit Qatar. What role do you find that these events play in the maturing ecosystem here in this region?
Excellent question. What we find is that events like these bring a lot of ecosystem partners and players together. What I'm seeing here is a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, a lot of players in technology, directly into the web/AI/data space. And I think that the term of Web Summit is kind of loose now, but it's really kind of expanding. We're seeing players in the e-commerce like Talabat, our regional partner. Banks are participating, like our partners here from Doha Bank. Airlines, telcos. So it's really a very interesting space where people are exploring and sharing perspective ideas, but also interacting with large established players such as Mastercard and others who have something to say around data, AI, and the future of commerce.
Yeah, and as you said, it's a really interesting mix, isn't it? Because there's a lot of startup areas here as well, which obviously give you maybe a slight glimpse into some of the innovation and the things that are becoming possible within the region. Is that something that you guys actively wander around and look at?
Oh, 100%. I think, look, when you are kind of at the forefront of commerce and at the forefront of payments and pretty much being kind of the OG fintech, born 6 decades ago to facilitate people's lives when it comes to, interactions on the commerce side, transactions and so on, you have to always be on the lookout. And it's not just a kind of a survival matter of trying to avoid or thwart disruption. It's more of a kind of looking out for new ideas, fresh perspectives on how to do things. We do this in a number of ways. So we have a global platform where we actually invite and attract fintechs and startups to come to us through what we call a Start Path program, where they come engage us. And typically these are like kind of more like late stage growth scale-ups that have really established themselves on their business case and their business model. And they come to us really looking to grow and scale their innovations. We offer them obviously access to our large network of 25,000 banks globally and many of our large merchant partners and ecosystem partners as well. So that is one example. We obviously invest in a lot of companies. Very recently, we acquired a company. It was a very expensive acquisition. You may have read about it in the news, called Recorded Future, that participates in the cybersecurity world and supports a lot of governments really, but also a lot of large players globally ensure that the risk of identity theft by merging information from the deep web, but also the real web, and preventing cyber attacks and identity theft. So there's a lot of those examples, Mark.
And I guess, obviously, you mentioned a couple of the announcements here. Obviously, being a key participant in the ecosystem here, you're announcing some new partnerships and some interesting announcements. Maybe run me through a couple of the other interesting things that you've announced during this event.
Absolutely. We just signed an agreement with Sadad, which is a local fintech, to support them with our gateway technology to enable seamless, safe, and secure payments to the merchants and the large ecosystem participants here in Qatar. We're just very excited also this morning to announce a couple of major breakthroughs and new technologies that will come to market with our partner, Doha Bank. With Doha, first we announced the launch of Mastercard Move, which is our portfolio of payment technologies, cross-border remittances basically, that help customers pretty much move money, person to person, person to business to business also, and obviously all kinds of disbursements. This technology is real-time, safe and secure, and very transparent to the consumer using it from a fees perspective. We're just excited to launch it with the Doha Bank this time. We have this technology already in Doha through our exchange partners. Doha Bank will be the first bank to launch it. We also launched with them something that I'm really excited about, which is our Messi co-branded card. with with Doha Bank. Now, this is an exciting one because we've had Messi as our Mastercard ambassador, global ambassador, really, for the brand for the last 7 years. So it's really cool to see his face on cards in Qatar as he allows the Qatari consumers to unlock their passion for the beautiful game, whether it's access to special merchandise or discounts or access to the UEFA games. Doha Bank and Mastercard will be able to really unlock a lot around the brand of Messi, but also the UEFA in general.
And I guess that's a really nice sort of legacy from the World Cup that was hosted here.
100%,
as well.
100% actually. And Messi was actually very visible, him and along with Luis Figo, if you remember, back in the World Cup, on all the Mastercard branding in Qatar and Doha. And the last announcement that we'll be announcing also today, something I'm really excited and proud of, is our EMEA Mastercard Academy Hub, which will be a regional hub for our customers and partners to be able to bring their professionals to the Academy Hub here in Doha physically, and be able to benefit from Doha and Qatar as a up and coming tourism hub and a sports and culture hub, but also get access to the hundreds of modules, thousands actually of experts that we have globally that enable professionals of banking, commerce, merchants to get exposure to the latest trends, strategies, and insights around fintech and payments and banking. So we're very excited about this launch.
I think the Academy Hub is a really interesting thing. And as we were talking about, obviously, MasterCard's role within the ecosystem, it's a very clear point of saying, no, we're here to support. And I guess that's where the idea came from and why you started implementing. Maybe tell me a little bit about how it all came about and the thought process behind it.
You're making a great point. So strategically, we've had only a few global centers of excellence, and we wanted to have a center of excellence around the academy somewhere in the region. When we looked at it, we saw that Qatar is really investing as part of their vision, National Vision 2030, in education. And they have already today the education city. There's a lot of world-class business schools being attracted to this hub. So we thought there's no better place actually than Doha, than Qatar, to put together this academy and actually partner with some of those world-class players and offer very unique curricula rather, for the professionals from banking and our partners in general at large to come and upscale their professionals, but also give them a nice taste of how Qatar is evolving and the role that Doha and Qatar is playing in the regional ecosystem of fintech and payments.
Yeah. And how do you see that sort of academy developing? Obviously, it's initially looking to train current banking professionals. Do you see any sort of grassroots level, or how are you going to get a more interesting talent into the marketplace?
That's a great question. I mean, just like this Web Summit, Mark, the Academy will just be, or the MasterCard EMEA Academy will be just another pillar to support the fintech ecosystem. The idea is exactly like you said it. It's about talent attraction. And the more we attract talent here, the more they understand the value proposition of Qatar, and the more we can actually also, to your point, merge experiences. That's how it's going to evolve, to answer your question. For instance, we sponsored the McLaren Formula One team. So maybe at the next Formula One Grand Prix in Doha in November, we'll be able to bring together these two priceless experiences of, some professionals from around EMEA will be flying in to attend an executive education course and also attend the Formula One Grand Prix from the McLaren Lounge. And there's so many other examples from Qatar of other, sports and culture related events and platforms that are being created. What we want to do is we want to kind of synergize and galvanize this into a kind of beautiful offering that mixes, passion with content and thought leadership.
And I guess that, as you say, that kind of is a nice, easy way of bringing people together, bringing communities together, and then all benefiting from that as well. And what sort of longevity do you see with the sort of academy program? Do you think it will be morphing into something else within 3 to 5 years, or what's the sort of long-term idea?
Look, this is a great question. In the end, maybe I'm a history buff, so I'll answer your question by looking back instead of looking forward. So the academy is 3 decades old. Mastercard is 6 decades old. So we're a pretty old tech company, if you think about it, which is a privilege. In the 3 decades, the Academy has focused initially on live training. So we would fly our trainees, or our trainers rather, to our trainees, and they would sit with them in situ at their bank premise and deliver a training. We've delivered almost like 7,000 of those over the last 3 decades. But then, because it's not a scalable model, with the advent of technology, we evolved it into, more virtual. And Academy on the Web was created as part of the Academy. That allowed us to reach today up to 45,000 professionals from around the world. Now, as I think through to the future, with technologies like AR, you'll be able to maybe be back in your home base, take part of that module or some prerequisite to the course, from your bank premise, let's say if you're in Kenya or South Africa, but then come to Qatar to meet your other cohort teammates and maybe do some co-working together, co-creation together, co-learning experiences, and then attend the crisis experience. And then that kind of brings or merges together the physical with the digital into a digital experience. Now, obviously, we want the Academy not just to be a place where people come and congregate. We also want it to be a place where content is created. So I think the last thing that I see as it evolves into the future is more localized content, because today all the content we have is pretty much global content, and we benefit from the scale of the platform, obviously. But what you want to also do is make this an EMEA hub, which means we want innovations, first and foremost, from Qatar and from the region, from the Gulf, from the Middle East, to be curated and developed and curated here for the professionals here, but also from around the Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa region also, so that this can be more of a global, not just a regional platform. That's how I think this could evolve.
Fantastic. And then I guess, obviously we're here at Web Summit Qatar. Lots of interesting new technologies and innovation. You've had a couple of days to wander around. What's the most interesting thing that you've seen, or what do you think is going to be the thing that's going to be talked about for the next year?
Look, it's no secret that you can see the letters A and I rather in every booth that you look around you here. So there's no hiding what is kind of the overarching theme of the Web Summit this year. What I would be keen to see, though, is how this develops in the next few years. I mean, I think everyone is catching up that there's no way around AI. And what really AI means, I mean, we've been doing this for decades in our organizations. Most large organizations have had large sets of data, and we have been engaging in some sort of primitive AI or another. We actually invest a lot around cybersecurity where it comes to AI. We build machines and models and behavioral models and machine learning models that actually can predict and prevent fraud, for instance. We do this on our network for the last 15 years. What I'm keen to see, though, is how this evolves and hopefully remains a meaningful part of this journey, this digital transformation journey, and the future Web Summits. Because I think the biggest risk is that companies overinvest in the wrong AI use cases, and then we hit an AI winter. I think that would be a risk to delaying the progress of technology and digital transformation. If we're able to invest in the right use cases and every company really doubles down on what makes their platforms better, their tech better, their customer experience better, their people more efficient, and not waste time on and effort and money and investment on the wrong use cases, I think it will avoid us the pain of another AI winter, which we've seen post the Turing, let's say, era. So I think that is what I'm looking forward to see in the future, how companies really focus on what makes them good, to use AI to make them great, as opposed to just kind of like just branding an AI everywhere.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time
Thanks
to
for having me,
talk to
Mark.
me.